The Rampage Sword and Shield has 3 Rampage slots, and each slot has different Rampage skills you can choose from. There are 9 choices for the first slot, 11 for the second slot, and 4 for the third slot. Since the skills between each slot work independently, we can multiply 9 times 11 times 4 to get 396 total ways to customize this weapon. So which of these combinations are the best? Obviously we aren't going to go through all 396 combinations, so let's start by analyzing the second Rampage slot. For the second slot, non-elemental boost is by far the best choice here. Sword and Shield is mainly a raw weapon, and shield attacks, which you use frequently, do not deal any elemental or status damage. You also have to trade away some attack in order to receive the element or status ailment. It's just not worth it in my opinion. Moving on to the third slot, we can eliminate Elemental Surge because our weapon won't have any element, so we now have 3 choices here. Attack Surge increases our attack by 20 but decreases our affinity by 30%. Affinity Surge increases our affinity by 20% but decreases our attack by 10. And since both attack and affinity surge have negative effects, not filling in this slot at all could be a viable option. And finally we have the first Rampage slot, and this one is about the weapon's sharpness. By default, the Rampage Sword S has 40 hits of blue and can reach white sharpness with handicraft level 4. If you decide to keep the default sharpness, then you can pick one of the first 4 skills, or pick nothing at all. Elemental boost, defense boost, and picking nothing doesn't help with increasing damage, so our choices here are either attack boost 4 or affinity boost 4. If you don't want the default sharpness, then there are 4 other sharpness options to choose from. Sharpness type 1 only has 30 hits of blue, but can reach white sharpness as soon as you add handicraft level 1, which makes this Rampage skill seem pretty good. The other sharpness options unfortunately aren't that impressive. Type 2 is very gross. It's 100 hits of green and gets blue sharpness at handicraft level 1 and white sharpness at level 5. Just use the high ninja sword at this point. Type 3 also isn't too good, with 100 hits of blue but minus 10 attack. The decrease in attack clearly sucks, and you don't really need 100 hits of sharpness in a typical hunt anyways, so type 3 is a pass. Type 4 is a trap. While having innate 30 hits of white seems really good, this gets completely negated with the minus 20 attack, so this is just a terrible choice. Alright, so let's recap everything so far. For our first Rampage slot, we can choose between Attack Boost 4, Affinity Boost 4, or Sharpness Type 1. For the second slot, we pick Non-Elemental Boost, and for the third slot, we either choose Attack Surge, Affinity Surge, or none of them and leave the slot blank. That means we now only have 9 combinations of Rampage skills to worry about, which is much better than 396. So I made 9 theoretical builds and calculated their effective raw. Now I'm not going to share all 9 of these builds because I think that would be a waste of time, so here's the data. You can observe that the combination with the highest effective raw is Sharpness Type 1, Non-Elemental Boost, and Affinity Surge. However, there is a caveat. I could only fit Handicraft level 2 into the build, which means we only get 20 hits of white sharpness. This restricts us to only use the Hard Basher combo in Metsu Shorigeki, since anything else will rapidly drain our white sharpness. So if you enjoyed Hard Basher Anga Bunga, then this build is for you. A weapon that utilizes a similar playstyle is the Tigrex Sword, and if we compare their effective raw, we see that the Tigrex Sword will do slightly more damage. However, the Rampage Sword is more consistent due to its higher affinity, and you can also layer Rampage weapons, so if you're a fashion hunter and you hate the look of the Tigrex Sword, then the difference in effective raw isn't that big of a deal. If you don't like the Hard Basher spam playstyle, then Attack Boost 4, Non-Elemental Boost, and Affinity Surge is also a really good choice. 40 hits of blue means we can use Perfect Rush and the lateral slash combo more often, and not have to worry about going to green. This particular combination of Rampage skills is the one I use myself. If we compare this weapon to the Rathian Sword and Shield, Queen Rapier, we see that the Rapier does win by a very small amount. However, what we don't see is that the Rapier can deal poison damage on top of that, something that the Rampage Sword cannot do. This doesn't make the Rampage Sword obsolete though. If you really enjoy Dragonheart builds, then the Rampage Sword is a slightly better option over the Rapier due to its higher base affinity, especially if the monster you are fighting is resistant to poison. And again, you can layer the Rampage Sword to whatever you want, so if you're a fashion hunter, then the difference in damage is once again not a big deal. Anyways, that is all I have for you on this Rampage Sword and Shield guide. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, leave a like if you enjoyed this video, subscribe if you want to see more like this, and until next time.